and the energy that he used it in the CBT. So, it actually helped to revitalize the session and actually help my work to become so easy, so I don't have to give a foundation much to you, because Kundet has done a very good job. I have to modify my slide because Pidet already mentioned a little bit about CBT in my part. And we know that we very impressed when he come to give us a keynote, and he's always talk without preparing. And I would like to mention today that CBT seems to be just only for the grassroots people, for the community. When we started to work for CBT, they said, oh, this is very plain, this is not marketable at all. So until now, the use of the term of CBT now is not as popular. So we have to use the t-shirt. This is a good test. So this is a t-shirt to make sure that to everyone, that don't be afraid to travel to the community, don't be shy to travel to the community. And this is a good opportunity to learn, share the culture. And from there, it's not only a tourism, it's not traveling, it's about promoting support to community. It's about promoting the community development work and help the community to look after their resources, to look after their pride to the outsider. So today we have a good test to travel to the community. If you haven't got it, that the t-shirt is available for sale at the registration desk. The community-based tourism, the most important thing is how different from other form of tourism. So the community-based tourism is not only to say you've been there, have you done that, only not shopping and and using the toilet, but it's actually more than that. It's a good opportunity to share the culture with the local people, and this is what CBT is different, as the director of Thailand Research Fund has mentioned earlier. So when you see the graph, it might be a little bit shocking because it's going up, or will we have any crisis? Tourism is inescapable. It's essential. Even we live in the countryside, we still have the district organization encourage you to travel. But if you're in Thailand and you never travel out of your village, this is considered you outdated. So I don't see that the trend of the tourism will go down, but it could be a problem if we cannot look after our resources of cultural resources and natural resources. I would like to mention that if we growing in terms of quantity, but if we don't have a good quality, we don't maintain a good quality, it's not sustainable. Let's look at the ASEAN. When we look at the ASEAN, the translator cannot see. Okay. The ASEAN is actually the largest region for tourism to grow. This is considered the high growth in terms of tourism. So on this part, we start to question about development work. How do we grow? Once CBT has started, how do we grow? It's a question. On the early stage, we start to ask about growth we have to check whether it's balance between economic, social, and culture. We want to see if it's balanced or not, but we want to know also how can we make it sustainable. Tourism is also very important. We have been discussing about this for a long time. We're talking since 20 years about sustainability of tourism. But from that time, we asked the next question that how we're going to campaign and how are we going to launch the tourism into making it more helping the resources to be protected, to be looked after. So after all, we start to have to talk about the ecotourism. If we talk about ecotourism, if it's not, whoever does not talk about ecotourism, that seems to be outdated. Dr. Anucha also is a key person who talk about the ecotourism, and we're talking about the terms now, how we translate that into Thai. I can speak clearly a lot about ecotourism, which is only in the last 3 years that we just started talking about CBT. But before that, we seem to have a not a very clear definition whether we're talking about the community-based or we're talking about ecotourism or alternative form of tourism or homestay. But after all, last 3 years it's become clear. We have to counter the mass tourism. For CBT, it's a tool for development. Number 2 is the community has to have the benefit, and the community-based tourism is not working only by one community, but we have to have a network. So now we're talking about the most important root of CBT. Now it's about stakeholder. We also work with the stakeholder and the business sector. They also use the community-based tourism as their CSR, and they can also return the profit to the community. And now we're talking about the network, talking about other stakeholder. We're talking about community-based tourism is not a main occupation. We're not going to use tourism as an occupation, but we have to be professional. And we have to lift it up into the level of, SME or small medium enterprise. And when we start working with other stakeholders, it's not about calling them for help, or it's not about taking advantage of other in the capitalist way. So we have to work together, and the sharing of the benefit has to be win-win, has to be together. And the committee has been talking a lot that committee, but it's not just one product of tourism. It's not about image, but you have to have a soul, you have to have the spirit in the community base. And there's a lot of story behind the community base before we open it to the tourism. That's how important it is. It's not only a community in Thailand that have this spirit, but we have to expand it. We have to use it in all ASEAN community. We might use a different term, but we can share our heart. We can tune our heart to understand and to go in the same spirit. We can talk about ecotourism in the committee, CBT. We can talk about entrepreneurial. We can talk about the business sector that use the responsible travel. Maybe sounds better. The responsible travel used by the business sector, maybe it's easier to tune and to work with other. But we have to look how can we help the community to help alleviate poverty. So community-based tourism is very important. It's managed and owned by community. If you ask, in terms of the development of CBT, in ASEAN, we are not doing just one community, but we're also working with other stakeholders. We're working with foreign organization, international organization. In ADB, we work with ADB, we work with UNESCO, we work with WWF, World Wildlife Fund, that also work together. We have the business sector come to work together. We have the research sector, we have the Thailand Research Fund, we have the National Research Council, we have NGO, we have all these bodies, work together, moving CBT together. CBT is being important, it's being promoted. It sounds like easier said than done. The Prime Minister said the high-profile people speak about CBT. It looks good. It seems like those people who are responsible and working for the society. So everybody's talking about that. In organizational level, people start to talk about that. Yeah, everybody's talking about CBT now. Everybody's talking about our asset, sharing asset, so we can do CBT. So now everybody's now know that they can do CBT, and many CBT is going widespread now. So CBT is a great opportunity for people outsider to come and learn and then help us to develop and to protect. But then because we use CBT so much, it can also create confusion. It also create as a buzzword, because people who do not actually know what CBT is all about, but they use the CBT. So then they go to the level that which one is a real CBT, which one is a fake CBT. So we come across this point that we will need to move from just a CBT to have a better CBT, and then have a committee to have a real say in community-based tourism. Also, we do not want to disappoint the tourists, who have been traveling for 18 hours, and when they come to Thailand, traveling by car for a long time, and when they get to CBT, they need to get a real experience and then impression to go back. So at this point, if we want to make sure that our CBT follow the principle, the guideline of the CBT, we have to talk about standard. We're talking about this. We're talking about process. It's not only the end product, but it's about process. It's about working process together with other stakeholders. We have to have a process of monitoring and evaluation. In other part, if we can do it, we can make it CBT. We have to make it with the quality, and it has to be practical. We have to have the visitor. The most important thing is that we can do it, and then we have to have visitor. And what sort of tool, what sort of mechanism that we will help together. So this is a question. But I would like you to travel to ASEAN first. This is the question. So now we want to look around and see what the ASEAN is doing now. So we look around and see other 10 countries. I would like to go pretty quick. The 10 countries, what are the picture? I would like to just give you divide into two groups now, but if I can get more funding, I could give you a clearer picture. CBT here in ASEAN maybe not started from government, maybe not started from the NGO, but CBT may started from the people. But if we started from the people, from the community, we start to have a strong sense of belonging, and we are very careful. Let's have a look which country that started from the people. Can I use the poster as a background? The country that used it, Indonesia, we have Indonesia, Thailand, Philippines, and Cambodia that started from the people. And from the documentary, from the book that you have in the orange one, it's only in English. The Thai version is being translated now. Okay, so the case study of each country tomorrow, you can talk about that. We started from, let's go back to 20 years ago. We have, the Indonesia has been working on the CBT for 20 years, and this country has never stopped. But because we have the local NGO, we have the Indicon Ari from Indonesia that has been working on the CBT for a long time. Ari has been in Thailand in 2002 in ecotourism, and I still see him around in the CBT. And one thing that this CBT has been moving on because the government has been supporting. From Indonesia, we know that they have, it's archipelagos in many different islands. So at different level, different, governments level. So they're relevant with the government's policy. I know that there's a lot of challenges, there's a lot of problems, but because of geography, it's a difficult access, transportation and information. Some issue can be very difficult, can be more difficult than other people. So this is a difference. So we'd like to learn and share about this CBT journey. So the diversity, the difficulties of the geography could be a problem, could be hindered. Also the funding agency, is it a problem? We would like to learn also about that challenges, whether we have financial challenges. Okay, let me just talk briefly about it. From Indonesia, I moved to Philippines. Amy, where are you? From Philippines? Okay, we have friends from Philippines back there, from Bohol, in the south of Philippines. So 2 months ago, we went to the Philippines to study. Philippines also starting from the same time, some 20 years. The strong point of Philippines is they starting from development work. They're talking about the resource management first, community development first. And the question is, how are we going to turn the development work, natural resources, natural resource conservation and agriculture? How can we turn this into passing the information to the audience and getting them to understand? So finally it becomes tourism. So we already have some foundation on the development work in the case of Philippines, and using tourism as another process. And also we used Philippines used the training session to help them, and then they managed to get the other stakeholder to help. This is a case study from Philippines. On the other side is challenges and obstacles. In the case of Philippines, from our literature review, we found that to enhance the capacity, enhance the carrying capacity in hospitality or in tourism, we need to provide training. The geography also similar to Indonesia because it's lots of islands. The policy level, when trying to move on from the policy level into the practice level in the committee is not as smooth as Indonesia, but that we challenge Emmy to come and provide us more information. In the case of Thailand, we have over 100 communities. We have a tangible area for practice for CBT. We have the different ethnic group. We have the case study of the community with in the national park, community in the coastal area. So we have the community-based tourism management in a different ethnic group in different contexts. Also, we have the community-based tourism in the village or at the different network. We have accumulated a lot of wealth of knowledge on the management and CBT, and we have been working with, this is the case of Thailand, we have been working with the tourism operator who interested in using the community as a CSR. We have the community that is already, emerging, sustaining also, maybe stopping doing CBT or changing. But we see the continuity of the work. We see the challenges of the people who work in Thailand, and we would like to. Other challenges that we don't have the continuity. We're just trying, repeating the same mistake. So when we have the knowledge kit, the question is how are we gonna turn our lesson learned into improving or promoting to the next level? But this is our challenge now. Also, being supported from many organizations also important. Let's talk about the Cambodia. We have friends from Cambodia. We have Sophia. Sophia, can you stand up? Okay, so this is from Sophia. We have the unique selling point from Cambodia after we have met in one of the ecotourism meeting in international level in 2002. Cambodia went back and set up the network for community, Cambodia community-based tourism, CBT. So they managed to set up the network right after 2002, and the member pay, the community member pay to the organization, and then also they developed a proposal for the funding. So it's very interesting to see that Cambodia move on from just meeting, and then they start to have a network right away, and the network will work together with all the community. So this way is very interesting and helps Cambodia to develop a new system and to work with the community systematically. And we know that CBT member is not only the development organization, but also have a government partner. Challenges of the Cambodia situation is similar to Thailand. It's about marketing as challenges, and also the continuity to work with other community, with other NGO. Source of funding also is a problem for the Cambodia network as well. Cambodia is also talking about the standard. Yeah. The next group is the country that has been supported by the government, which is talking about the Vietnam. We don't have our participant this time, but they will come tomorrow. The weak point, the strong point of Vietnam is that the government take this CBT as a serious, important policy to help and develop. So the government also looking at the economic perspective, economic benefit. So they becoming more established in terms of providing loan, a micro loan to the community. So on this case, we have learned that challenges in Vietnam because it comes from the government, but we have to make sure that the babysitter, the consultant organization needs to prepare the human resource to make sure that the committee continue and strong enough to run CBT, looking not only for the economic benefit but for conservation and natural resources protection as well. There should be. So when we go to see the committee in Vietnam, they have a very clear system. We have the ticket booth. They have everything very clear. But the problem is that they still not successful in managing the resources and natural resources. Let's go to Lao in the. So I hope Lao does not have to use friend. This is Kun Somsawat from Laos. And now Pinoy will take you to Laos. So from the CBT that have been working in Laos, the government also help direct and shape. They have the pilot area. Okay, let's shoot the pilot area project in Luang Nam Tha, Luang Prabang, Kham Muon, Suansi, Champasak. This is five provinces, but then this is already decided by the government, and if it's clear, if it's good, then they will follow up that plan. It is clear that it's a CBT, but then it's moved to the CBT. The committee, poor committee, can also receive benefit. Challenges of the Lao is when the policy design launched by the government, we don't have enough resources. Lao does not have enough human resources or technical advice or technical experience to help the committee to develop CBT. So in terms of the understanding and knowledge kits of CBT, we have people in Thailand. In Thailand, we have many different forms of tourism. Before we have CBT, we have beach tourism, we have the archaeological tourism. But in the case of Laos, when they have the tourism, all forms of tourism comes at the same time, and it's better when they talk about community-based tourism. So it's really difficult to see or to clarify which form of tourism that allow the community-based, that allow community participation. Let's go to Myanmar. Is there any friend? Any friend from Myanmar? Okay, I would like to introduce you right here. Hama is very attractive now. After close the country for a long time, and now the government has a clear policy to support tourism, responsible tourism. They had workshop, they had seminars, and they have advisor, and then they start to have the private sector to work with the community. So CBT to work, but because they just start a new session in Myanmar, they have to develop infrastructure, transportation. It might not be convenience now, but some areas still have some tension or conflict. So whether to open or not to open for tourists or not, this is still a question and challenges, and it needs a preparation and for many different organizations to help. So how many countries we have done? Okay, next is to Malaysia. We have friends from Malaysia. Okay, we have Professor Siwar from Malaysia. He's been doing a lot of work on homestay, very unique. When we talk about community-based tourism, people thinking, oh, maybe is this the same or is it different? Oh, tomorrow our professor will help, clarify that point. but homestays definitely is launched and implemented by the local people. The governments are very supporting in Malaysia homestay and working with the community or with the private sector. They provide a homestay. And in order to challenges and hindrance, it's also about marketing. So if they the homestay, they have Malaysian now traveling, but they're also looking at having more international tourists. And now after they have done for a long time, so they're not sure whether which one is their identity, what's the difference between the different village. So this is the challenges of Malaysia. Is it 8 countries now? So the other 2 countries, Singapore, we don't have a committee that's really working on the committee. We're not talking about sustainable management. They do have sustainable tourism management, but then they don't have the committee. Brunei, it's just starting. They have 3 communities. They have only starting, and they have 3 committees, but only 1 committee that has been following as a homestay. But the pilot area is now in 3 committees, so we will try to invite them, but they were not available to join this conference. What has been working in Thailand, I think we are updated, we are in trend, and we are not alone. We are working together with other ASEAN countries. Now I would like to see the differences of the committee. This study, this research is not just to know, but we would like to know how we gonna work together. So we would like to see in detail that if we want to work together in terms of marketing, in terms of community participation, what are the challenges for us to work together? So let me just give you a brief conclusion. In terms of differences, the degree, the intensity of the development of community, there's a different dimension. As I said, that I divide into 2 groups, that from the bottom up, or from the people, or from the government. I would like to see that this is quite a different thing, but the other differences is some countries are really good, that they have a good relation between the government and the private sector, but some country, let's look at our country. We still have the private and the public and private, it's quite not unanimous. And the other section is the supporting process. We have top-down level, and we have bottom-up process. This is not which way is better. Top-down is not always bad, or bottom-up is not always good. With our framework, with our conceptual framework, process is really important. Both bottom-up or top-down, we need to have a process, that can help us to work together. The similarity, or the main importance of similarity that I discovered from the research, is we discover that it is not only for the financial sector. Some countries might use tourism as to help alleviate poverty, but we also look at the natural resources protection. This is very important. This is a similarity. The other similarities is we talking about the benefit of the community, the benefit of the people. The other similarity is the marketing. We still have a problem marketing. We still have a problem. We can't find people who are interested in the marketing and people who are actually working on the tourism in the community. challenges and hindrances or similarities. The committee are looking for the babysitter organization or consultants organization that help them to promote, to do marketing, and also train the committee to help themselves in a professional way. This is highly needed, especially in the development work. It's still a big challenge to help community to move out of their situation. If we're looking at, if we're expecting high number of international tourists, and then now we start to question why don't we look at the domestic tourism. And it's also a good idea that the tourism within the country, people can learn about our culture, people can learn about their own background. Maybe domestic tourism is another issue. And how are we going to tackle that challenges? The other one is also the funding. How can we sustain the project and funding in terms of supporting the NGO or research to research to find out where or what is the problem, how come that the challenges cannot be overcome, and also how can we get a better cooperation between the government, and how can we find the right market. This is the challenges. We need funding both for research, for the NGO, and also for the community itself. This is okay. This is like we're sharing the same situation. So in conclusion, that is overview of the picture. But because we need the narrator, we need people who move this story. And if we want to work together, what are the issues that we need to work together, and what the standard of the community-based tourism seem to be coming up in this narrator. If we use a standard as the one who move and seek cooperation, and then also link it to the visitor, standard might be an answer. Just to make sure that if visitor they have the question, how can they get to this? So this is very important. So at least one indicator to ensure that the tourist can be happy. It's not like you're going to buy a vegetable, you see the vegetable. But this is tourism. Tourists need to make a decision through those other people. You cannot go there and see the property first before you buy. So this is different. So how can we help to make that, help the tourists or help the demand to make a decision? So maybe the standard of the community-based tourism is the answer. And in Thailand, we're starting to use the standard to promote that. We're whispering the community, sometimes homestay. We mention, the village tourism, but many things. But then we have to have the term that really make us convince the tourists. So if we want to do this standard, what's the hindrance, what's the challenges? So it's already in the book, we're talking about that. But even we have been working for almost 10 years, we still managed not to develop, or we haven't got any standard. So we thought that this was already done, but this is still going on. This is not completed yet. We still use the word as a draft of the standard. Yes. Yeah, we have been working on that process for a long time. We have the funding agency from Europe. We have, because Europe, they very focus on the standard. We have the 3 pilot countries that working together. now we have Mongolia, we have Indonesia and Cambodia, but we have two countries in ASEAN. Thailand also joined from 2009, but now we have to work together. We have some countries that already set the standard, but there's no continuity. So we see that the country in ASEAN, we have Thailand that has a standard, Indonesia and Cambodia that has a standard. Pama talking about responsible travel, and they also request the document, and they ask us to help us, and then we'll put the they're talking about the responsible tourism in Myanmar. So this is Myanmar also trying to go into the community and then help promote the tourism. So this is a picture. In the middle of the bottom up policy, as I do the opening speech, the tourism ministry of Cambodia has been assigned to be the lead country to follow up, the CBT products in ASEAN. CBT, we're talking about CBT in last April, and we're ready. But this is a great opportunity for us, We managed to link, and since we're going to work in the same direction, so the government and the private sector, why don't we just work together? So we have opportunity to invite the representative from Cambodia to come and share the question is CBT to
This research indicates that in Thailand we have CBT and needs to further develop. From then on, those who are concerned with the CBT to make it qualities, who are they and what they think of things. Then we find communities where they are, the organizations, the markets where they are, so we can establish the standards through the people's and stakeholders' participation. And we have the draft and conclude the lessons around the world, the standards, GSTC, and we can learn and think if we can make it applicable to our localities in accordance with the global standards. And if there is anything relevant to the Thai or other ASEAN's localities, and we talk with the enterprises and networks and government policies together with this, and we can find that if the CBT standards will be possible, if we need standards and qualities, other things are practicalities, and we have teams to be responsible for each aspect, and we can ask the question if this beneficial to the communities. This afternoon we can discuss this further. If we can have a draft, for example, for Thailand, and we can talk with other ASEAN friends, what are and what we can work together so that we can come up with a good result. Date Pumkacha has emphasis about this morning. Five steps. One, sustainable management. Two, CBT can support the locals. How it's further cultural and conservation of natural resources and culture. All these appear in the two books. We have both English and Thai for you. Within the limit of time, I hope that we can have the overview of ASEAN today. We have friends from ASEAN and they are interested about Thailand, and tomorrow they will present themselves and let us know what they are, and we can have the better information. And this comes to the conclusion of my presentation of this CBT in ASEAN. Thank you.